Sounds, camera, action with inspiring leaders. In today's episode, we explore the prestigious Sheikh Sultan Award, which recognizes excellence, dedication, and innovation in education. We are joined by Mr. Sean, who has been working closely in guiding students and school through the award journey. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Vinit. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much.
Really a pleasure because I've been watching many of your podcasts and I really am inspired by the interviews and the visions of your podcast. So hopefully I can give a different context and a few stories to add to your ongoing project. My name is Sean MacCormac. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm currently the specialist at the Sheikh Sultan Award for celebrating the spirit of youth. It's a nationwide program all over the UAE, but based in the Emirate of Sharjah. I'll talk a little bit about that later on. But to answer your question about my journey into education, my journey to education is a little bit of an alternative one and comes from slightly a different track that a lot of people find themselves in teaching or education. I'm originally from the north of Ireland. I didn't come from a family of educators, and traditionally in my part of the world, often teaching and education careers follow a generational pattern and people follow what their parents have done. And my parents were not educators, but they were heavily involved in the UK and Irish International Scout movement, the Scouts. I grew up within this association, and that was really my first experience, both as a participant and as a leader and volunteer, of experiential learning and that really high quality learning that happens outside of the classroom and of course benefits the students inside the classroom. I had the opportunity at a young age when I finished my secondary school to move to Australia. I'm half Irish, half Australian. And there I was able to study at Monash University, Australia's biggest university. At the time it had a very good school of education, I'm sure it still does. And that gave me a lot of exposure to different schools, both across Australia and internationally as well. I studied to be a geography teacher, a passion of mine. And as I was teaching geography to my students and working in high schools and universities, I thought to myself, I need more personal stories to give while I'm teaching these case study examples. My focus and passion is human geography, more than the physical side of that. And so I started traveling as much as I could afford to, during my holidays, during my breaks, and started collecting personal stories that I could add to the case study examples that I was teaching through the curriculum. And it became a hobby of mine, trying to travel to as many different places as I could. I've since learned that there's never been someone born in Northern Ireland that's traveled to every country in the world. This is a side tangent, but there's me and one other guy. I think he will beat me. So to the date, I'm up to 139 countries. He's about to finish. But yeah, so it's quite a new thing to travel at that expanse. We come from a very small country, 1.7, 1.8 million people. And naturally, this travel and experience with experiential learning and all of these really high quality learning experiences outside of the classroom led me into curiosity about the concept of educational travel. Before I fully got to that, I ended up moving to United Arab Emirates, to the Emirate of Sharjah, and teaching here for many years, and had a great experience doing that. So my journey through education and into the Sheikh Sultan Award is very much one from experiential learning, international trips, domestic camps with students, and of course teaching geography, history, and wonderful humanities subjects.
So tell us more about how you're involved in the Sheikh Sultan Award.
Okay. Sheikh Sultan Award is all about getting students outside of the classroom in the fields of adventure, volunteering, fitness, and skills. My experience leading trips overseas for schools in the UAE and running domestic camps and my interest in this idea of experiential learning naturally led me to working with the Sheikh Sultan Award and helping grow that. My role is specialist. I work with schools across all over the UAE and youth organizations as well, not just schools. And we help run the awards, support the coordinators, and then of course do the evaluation auditing process. And my very favorite part of the year, which I'll talk about later, is the award ceremony, celebrating the achievements of the youth.
Amazing. And what is a core vision for this award? Like, what is the vision behind this and who introduced this idea?
Yeah, for sure. So the award was set up in 2019 as a direct initiative from His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, member of the Supreme Council of the United Arab Emirates and ruler of Sharjah. The vision for the Sheikh Sultan Award is to build a generation of youth who are both resilient and then can recognize and embrace their potential. So youth that are open-minded to taking new challenges. We want to recognize youth that are making significant contributions in their community outside of the classroom. And through this structured journey of skill building, adventure, volunteering, and fitness and well-being.
Great. So why are awards like these are so important in education system today? Why do you think so?
Yeah. So when we look at the educational research with all themes of experiential learning, and I can give you some references you can put in, at the bottom of your podcast if any of your listeners, want to read further on these topics. When we look at experiential learning, particularly adventure camps, international trips, domestic trips, especially when students are out of the classroom with their peers, with their teachers for multiple days at a time, we see youth that are building resilience, building confidence, working on creativity, problem solving in the real world. We teach problem solving inside the classroom all the time, but the problem solving that happens in the real world is effective in many different ways. When we see those students that do those experiences, and then we look at their traditional academic achievement after those experiences, their results always go up. And there's so many studies to support this. And it's because the youth and students that are running these experiences, they build these interpersonal skills, social emotional learning. They work on those skills that then when they come back into the classroom gives them more confidence and supports their traditional academic learning. So we see lots of examples of students who traditionally might not be academic top performers, and they see improvement by working on other skills outside of the classroom through these experiential learning programs.
And that's a huge impact on students, teachers, and schools,
yes.
right?
And that's not even mentioning, students, they're building their relationships with their peers in a positive way, seeing their teachers and educational leaders in a different context. And all of this feeds back into our traditional scoring system of how we assess students, and it does make a really big improvement if students can take part in these initiatives.
Wow, that's amazing. And what do students need to do to qualify for this award?
Okay, so the award is open to all nationalities, locals and non-locals, and they need to be a citizen or resident of the UAE. We're open to youth ages 13 to 18, and we assess this at the start of each award cycle, which is 1st of September every year. Youth can enter at any point they wish. We have 3 awards: bronze, silver, and gold. And that's the base requirement. They don't need to be a part of a school or youth organization offering the award. They can also apply directly to Sheikh Sultan Award as an individual. And that's it. Yeah.
So they have to fill any application form to get through it, or it's so the students can apply directly?
Yep,
right.
Exactly, yes. Okay. So we have 2 different tracks. We have individual registration and we have coordinator-based registration. Okay. So individual registration, the students will complete their activities. So either in adventure, volunteering, skills, fitness, well-being. They will collect their appropriate evidence and they will submit directly to us via our website. The majority of our applicants actually come through a coordinator-based registration. So that's a representative in a school or youth organization that is the, like you say, ambassador of the award. And these are a fantastic network of individuals that we're very thankful for. And they help run the activities on a local level, help with the administration, encouragement, marketing of the award within the area, and support the students through their journey. So when they go through this process, they just give their name to their teacher or coordinator in their organization registers them with us. Usually we take registration by December of every year, just their names. And then they have up until the 1st of May to finish their award activities for the award cycle.
Wow.
So we run from 1st of September to 1st of May.
That's amazing. Can you share an inspiring, successful story from the award journey?
I thought you might ask this question, so I prepared something for this. And this is actually a really recent story I've seen. And, in the award, we've seen probably upwards nearly 2,000 award winners through the last 5 cycles, and each of them have very diverse range of journeys, depending on what they do for each of the categories. Many of the award categories, when you have a look, are quite open-ended. We do that on purpose because we recognize the fact that the award looks different depending on which school or which youth organization the participant is coming through, or if they're, like I said, if they're doing it individually. Very recently, I visited a group, and I visit a lot of adventure camps all over the UAE. We have some also internationally that occur. And there was a group of participants, they were doing a camp at an eco farm. They were doing a 5-day camp, and as part of this camp, we see lots of different camps. Sometimes we see skill building camps, history-based, culture-based, adventure sports camps, and volunteering. This whole camp was scheduled by an organization to do the Gold Award, but to do it in the theme of ecological agricultural volunteering. So learning agricultural skills, helping a farm which was set up very specifically in the countryside area of the UAE to manage their resources in a very resourceful way. And the youth that went on this camp, they had no experience in agriculture, no experience in horticulture before. And they were initially very enthusiastic to get started. And I found out from speaking with some of them that earlier on in the camp, when they learned that other participants were doing traditional adventure sports camps, whitewater rafting, abseiling, they got a little bit disappointed. They said, "Oh, we're doing agricultural volunteering," and they got a little bit disheartened. But I seen them throughout their journeys, and this is why I mentioned this particular group as a success story, because they remained resilient, they remained open-minded to learning some new skills and giving back to their community. And when I went back on the second last day of the camp to see the students, I couldn't believe it. They took us on a tour of the camp. They showed us the work they were doing with their fish farm. They showed us the plants they've planted, all these new skills they had learned with the farm workers, this new animal care routine they had learned. And they spent the whole day teaching us every little thing that they had learned. And these were students that have grown up in an urban area. They'd never had experience in this field before. And I know after I left, I was driving home and I said to myself, I know if I check in on those students in 3 years, I can guarantee at least 3 or 4 of them will be at university studying agricultural science or horticulture. And that's the beautiful thing about these award programs, is that often it can be the spark in a teenager's interest. And sometimes it's in a passion that they've never even thought about. In an area which they previously thought, that's not for me. And then when they're in that opportunity and they remain open-minded, resilient, and open-minded to learning new experiences, working with new groups of people, can be really transformational in their journey, in both their education and their personal development.
True. And I think it helps them when they grow old. They gain more confidence when they're facing people around. And that's so important. In today's world, especially, we are dealing with students where they need that so much. So is this award is only for Sharjah, or it's involved other Emirates also?
Okay, so the Sheikh Sultan Award is set up from the Emirate of Sharjah, but I must stress this is a nationwide program for youth for all over the UAE, residents and citizens. So any private public school across the whole nation, any youth organization as well. We have charities working with us, sports clubs, youth clubs. We have some religious organizations. We have a large network of homeschoolers as well across the country, as well as traditional brick and mortar public ministry and private schools as well working for us. So any youth across the country, resident or citizen, can apply as long as their age is between 13 to 18.
Amazing. And I just want you to tell to the teachers and the leaders who are listening to this conversation how they can help, the school communities can support the students who actually want to be a part of this, what they need to do.
Okay. Have a look at our website. Read our manual that's on our website, Sheikh Sultan Awards. We also have really good Instagram and social media. So get an idea, first of all, of the ethos of the award and how it matches with the curriculum of that particular school. I'm a big believer in award programs and experiential learning. I think they can be matched with every type of curriculum, public or private type of curriculum from many different countries. So first of all, have a look at the ethos and vision. I want to stress that this is a non-academic award at levels bronze, silver and gold. So we don't ask participants to write anything. There's no essay contribution. As well as that, it's a non-competitive based award. So we don't have a capped amount of winners for that, as long as they meet the minimum criteria. I say non-academic But based on what I said before as well, I think there's a lot of benefit for traditional academic study within these programs. So first of all, have a look at the vision, mission, and ethos of the award. See where it fits within your school group. Potentially there's a fit with all of your students ages 13 to 18. Potentially it might align more with a particular grade level or year level, and therefore you can align it with the curriculum and your expected student outcomes. Our manual on our website lists a lot of in detail student outcomes and a lot more things, a lot more aspects you can use to link it to the goals of which you want for each of your grade levels. I will stress as well, it can match quite well with some other award programs. There is other award programs operating internationally in the UAE. We're the first of its kind in the GCC with its non-competitive base and in our fields. But you can align it very well with the themes of the International Baccalaureate, the CAS program, and service learning initiative that they do in a lot of the middle years programs as well. If you feel like it's a good fit for your students, I hope so. Sometimes I feel like a salesman for the award, but I'm not selling a product because it's actually free. The award is free for anyone to apply, and we don't charge any application fees or ceremony fees or anything like this. If you feel like it's a good fit, please reach out to us if you'd like your school, both any school in the country or youth organization. Send us an email at info@sheikhsultanaward.ae. We'll arrange a meeting to help launch the award in your school with some support materials as well as some training for an in-school coordinator. So we like to have one coordinator in each school or organization. And like I said, that will be the representation of the award at the local level. But as you know, any of these big initiatives in schools or youth organizations require the support of the wider community, other staff, parents, and this is where we see the maximum impact. But we can help with that whole process.
Amazing. And we can even mention the email address when we are posting this so the audience can see that. So what are some of the common challenges participants face in this award journey?
Through all three levels of our award, bronze, silver, and gold, at the core of each of those medals is the themes of adventure and volunteering. In the silver and gold medals, we invite students to take up either a skill or a fitness well-being activity. But because adventure and volunteering is at the core, especially the adventure camp, being away from the students' families in nature. So for the adventure criteria, we need students camping outside in nature. And that can be challenging for some students, particularly younger students. And that is the ethos of the award is challenging students outside their comfort zone in a safe and structured manner. We like to think of the students as active participants. They're doing all of the activities, but they have a say in the outcomes and the journey they have. And that's why each of our students have different journeys. But that can be challenging for some students being outside their comfort zone, doing new activities that they have possibly not thought of doing. I hear it all the time when I speak to some participants. They say, I'd love to do the awards, but I'm not an adventurous person. And I said, what's an adventurous person? What does that look like? And I really believe that any type of participant, if they remain open-minded and resilient to new challenges, they can be an adventurous person. And that just means trying something new. These are the exact principles we want to help embody in the youth of the UAE. Lots of people don't know this, but the themes of the award, adventure, volunteering, fitness, wellbeing, and skills, these are actually based on the childhood of His Highness Sheikh Sultan, and some of the experiences he had in his childhood and adolescence, and some of the skills in which he wants to embody not only in the youth of Sharjah, but the youth of the whole nation, which is really great. So I encourage students when they face this challenge of being away from home for multiple days and being out in nature to remain open-minded and remember that it's throughout their education journey. Sometimes these are the most memorable experiences and the most rich learning experiences happen when you are with your peers and you're doing something completely new as well.
Amazing. So when you talk about adventure camps, are you guys organizing that, or who is organizing the adventure camp for the students?
So for this, it relies, like I said, on very different journeys depending on the youth organization or the school who's organizing this. Us as the award accrediting body, our role is to help promote the award, accredit the award, evaluate and support the coordinators. So it's up to the coordinators in each individual youth organization or school to plan their adventure camp. And they can do this through a network of approved adventure providers that we can give them the contact details for. and they can plan this. Now, it's really important with any award program or any curriculum that all of the evidence and rich learning can be evaluated appropriately. There's measurable impact, and we know that there's integrity in the award. That's one of the values. So we ask that coordinators do this through a UAE-based organization. They plan their camp, of which there's a lot of choice and different journeys. And like I said, we see camps based on culture, history, adventure sports. We see camps based on volunteering, on agriculture. So they can really be based in lots of different directions, and you can embody other areas of the award or other areas of your curriculum into the camp. As a base requirement, we ask that students are away from their families with their peers, camping in nature, so in tents outside. It can also be done internationally as well if it's done through a UAE-based organization and we have the appropriate evidence. But it's a base requirement. Students are out camping in nature and completing one physical challenge per day. So we like to keep that as open-ended as possible for school coordinators to take the adventure camp in different directions should they wish.
And then they have to upload these evidence on
Correct.
the site. Yeah, that's how it is. So what advice would you like to give it to the students aiming for this award?
Just try it. Just try it. Just be brave and give it a go. And, some students, they start their award journeys and it takes them in a completely different direction. Some they start and maybe they don't finish everything else in time, but they find a different passion and then they apply again the next year and finish. But just try it. Just be open-minded. These areas of adventure, skills, fitness, and volunteering, these are something that all youth and adults as well, all of us, can benefit from trying these experiences, not just for our personal development, but to also give back to the wider society.
So, but it's only for students, or it's for teachers also? No, it's only for students from 13 to 18, right?
Yes. So we just give the award.
Teachers can support them.
Correct, yes. And we do see a lot of teachers and educational leaders and volunteers of youth organizations will go on the camp as well. Of course, this is appropriate for safety standards and student-teacher ratios as well. So these experiences often, we get really good feedback from the teachers as well, but unfortunately we can't give them the award.
Amazing. So what is the future vision for the Sheikh Sultan Award?
So we want to continue inspiring youth to take up new challenges and also accredit youth and recognize youth that have gone outside their comfort zone in any of the award areas and really embrace their potential. And we want to continue that reach across the whole nation. Like I said, we're the only award of its kind in the GCC region within these themes and a non-competitive based award. So I'd like to encourage all youth to apply if you feel like it's something that you might be interested in. I can't give too much details on the next thing I'm going to say, but we are in the process of opening up another award medal for older students, older than ages 18, the themes of which will be revealed very soon. But all I can say is watch this space. Because we do have something coming for students in tertiary education, university age students on the way.
So thank you so much for giving us a lot of information. So before we move on to rapid fire round, one last message to our audience, to our listeners.
Of course. I'd like to share a quote from our patron, His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan. And he, as I mentioned before, has a lot of interest in very different areas of education, especially in bridging this gap between traditional schooling and lifelong learning. And a famous quote by him is, he says, culture is a cornerstone of building a human, but education is the tool that we use to refine that human. And through the award, I like to think about this quote because not only can participants use the experiences of the award to learn more about their own culture, but by remaining open-minded and working with different groups, especially through the areas of volunteering and adventure, they can learn a lot about other cultures and other demographics living in the country that we call home today. And the award can be a nice vehicle to do that and to experience different elements of the nation and different groups of people that are living here.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So let's move on to rapid fire round. Are you ready?
Yeah, as much as I can be.
Okay. One word that describes the Sheikh Sultan Award.
Challenge.
Student or teacher who inspires you more?
I don't know which one I am in this scenario, but I think both. And I think a good teacher should be inspired by the student and a good student should be inspired by the teacher, but we're lifelong learners.
Great. Hard work or natural talent?
Hard work. I think many of us look at the quote-unquote talented people that we see in the media, and I think it's easy for many of us to forget the amount of hard work that they grafted to get to that point.
Great. Planning ahead or going with the flow?
You need to be both. You need to be agile. But when it comes to the award, I think planning will really help any participant or coordinator's journey through that.
Super. Biggest mindset shift for success?
Try something new every day.
Great. Quickest tip for students aiming for the award?
Just try it. You never know where it will take you. You never know what journey you'll have, but just try it.
Collaboration or competition?
I believe as human beings, we will only flourish if we work together. So collaboration, but at the same time, I think you need to know your competitor. But if you truly know your competitor, you are collaborating.
Great. Academic knowledge or real-world experience?
Real-world experience. But as I said before, I think effective real-world learning experiences will always benefit traditional academic learning.
Great. Leader or learner?
I believe a good leader should be both. I try to be both at all times. I try to learn from others. I try to lead by example. But being situational in both aspects, I think, is really important.
Great. Most rewarding moment in the award journey?
Always the award ceremony. At the end of every cycle, we bring all the youth together from all over the country. We celebrate at a physical award ceremony, and to see the different journeys face to face of all the different participants and the joy as they celebrate their achievements is always a very uplifting experience.
Great. Innovation or consistency?
I think in order to build skills, and especially thinking about the themes of fitness and well-being, we need to be consistent. But through the award and through life in general, I feel like we do need to be open-minded, and sometimes that does require us to be innovative.
Great. Risk-taking or playing it safe?
Calculated risks are important. I think we need to always make calculated risks in our life, and I feel like if we want those true learning experiences and our life journeys to go in different directions, I think there is an element of risk-taking there, but not recklessly. I feel like calculated safe risk can be important for any person's educational or life journey.
Great. Book or experience, what teaches more?
I think they both complement each other. I think, like I said before, traditional academic learning is very important, and that these are the foundations to build a child or teenager through their journey. But real-world experience complements all of those activities, and a good learner should have a really nice combination of the two.
Great. One habit every award winner shares?
I think being resilient is really important. And having integrity through that resilience is really important. Often we have students who will start the award program and they might be doing it for extrinsic reasons. Maybe they want the title of the award, they want the award ceremony, the physical medal. But through that experience of different challenges, they remain resilient and they realize that there is an intrinsic benefit and a personal development reason for the award and the opportunity to help benefit their local community as well. So being resilient, but doing it with integrity.
True. Your favorite category in the awards?
Adventure camps are amazing. It's just incredible to see youth outside of the traditional classroom environment, either on domestic camps or international camps in a new scenario. And to see youth and teenagers with the look on their faces, they realize, wow, the world and the local community is a bigger place than we thought and a more diverse place than we thought. I think we're really well situated in the world, in the UAE, to experience both of those type of experience, because the diverse range of educational travel, domestic and international, that are available from this part of the world is second to none.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. Thank you. And I wish you all the best with the program so far.
Much.
And I really have to say the vision of telling different stories from different educators or people within the education industry is something that needs to be highlighted. And it's something that we can all learn from each other in.
Great. Thank you so much.